Hello, and welcome to Monumental, where we sit down with entrepreneurs, leaders, visionaries, and big thinkers making monumental change. Here's your host, Evan Holiday.
Welcome to Monumental, everybody. I am your host, Evan Holiday, and today we have on the show with us Miss Susie Carder. Susie, how you doing?
I'm doing fabulous. I'm so excited to be here. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you for who you are in the industry. Thank you for being a champion for this conversation. I think that we need more people like you in our industry that are committed to giving people juicy content, bringing valuable experts and spreading our messages. So thank you.
I love that. Well, thank you so much, Susie. I appreciate that warm welcome at the beginning. I really do. So before we dive into Susie's background and dive into today's awesome episode, I just want to let everybody know, I want to give you guys a shout out as well. You guys listening right here today, you monumental listeners, you guys are what makes this whole thing go forward. And you guys really bring the true value of here, allowing us to get amazing guests like Susie on here. And so anything you can do to help spread the word and spread the value of Monumental with other people you know, or share it on social media, that just brings tremendous value and allowing us to grow the Monumental community and bring even more impact to the world. So with that, let's dive into Susie's background and then we'll dive right in. So Susie started out as a low-paid hairdresser trying to support her two little girls. So she decided to do whatever it took to create her own business. After much blood, sweat, and tears, she went on to create not one, but two $10 million companies. That's awesome. Her core genius is the ability to simplify complicated issues by creating simple, proven systems that are guaranteed to create dramatic growth. She has helped over 100,000 entrepreneurs increase their revenues by more than 3,000%. Man, I love it.
On the money, honey.
Yeah. So let's dive into it. How did you go from hairdresser to building multi-million-dollar businesses?
Well, I think, it's really kind of what you talk about just in your mission and who you are is it can't just be about money, right? And for me, it was immediately my why became my children, right? I got married early, had kids early, and I didn't know how to pick a husband. And so he then became my husband. And I found myself needing to provide for my family. I had no child support, no alimony. And my why was I needed to provide for my family and my children. And so as a hairdresser, I went to bookstores and I read books. I didn't have any money, right? I was trying to figure out this whole business thing. Go to bookstores, figure out, okay, what's marketing? How do I get new clients? How do I do this? Okay, they say speak. I'm going to go speak. I'm going to go speak and get clients. So I spoke and I got clients. And I built $250,000 a year as a hairdresser. And then Paul Mitchell saw what I was doing and said, hey, can you help our spa owners and salon owners? They don't know how to do this. And clearly you've done something right. Now, I didn't have business strategy, Evan. I just had passion and wanting to make a difference. I didn't go in and go, I'm going to be a speaker and I'm going to sell this thing. I just wanted to serve my community. I wanted to help my community because they weren't teaching that back in the day. Right now they teach it because we implemented a program into all schools across the country that they're still teaching today, which I'm very proud of. That's a legacy project that teaches the business foundation to that industry. And so I went to salons and spas, and then people would say, Susie, do you have a book? I'm like, nope, I don't have a book. Never thought of a book. They're like, if you had a book, I'd buy a book. I'm like, I'm going to write a book, not knowing how to write a book. And then I'm like, actually, I love the book. I hate to read. Do you have it on audio? I'm like, no, I don't have it on audio. And they're like, oh, love the audio, but do you have any video? I'm like, no, I don't have video. So this other business was birthed from finding the need, feeling the need, right? Wanting to serve my community. It wasn't, I wish I said I had this big strategy. I didn't, right? Then I was launching another piece of my business. We were creating the largest online platform for the beauty industry, and I had to raise money. I didn't know how to raise money. So I took a class. I'm a good student. Took a class, and in that class, they taught us, SEC, taught us the language of raising money, taught us how to do pitches. But I realized they were teaching them how to raise the money, but not building the business infrastructure. And I said, you know what you guys need? You need somebody teaching the system stuff, because if they go raise money and they don't have this whole piece built,
Yeah.
That money's going to go away. And they're like, perfect, you teach it. I'm like, I don't know anything about other businesses. I just know about this industry. I'm doing well in this industry, love this. And they're like, we don't care. We love your personality. We love what you do. Come and teach our students. So immediately I'm thrown into 800 entrepreneurs, teaching the foundational stuff. Here's how you build a business. Here's the systems. Here's what you need to put in place. Here's the kind of team you need. And then all of a sudden, Evan, they're like, okay, will you coach me? I'm like, I don't know anything about a wild animal park. I wouldn't even know where to begin to coach you on building a wild animal park. I did coach him. We did put a whole business plan together for a wild animal park. That's probably the wildest thing I've ever done, is a wild animal park. And I realized that business is business is business, right? In the beginning, sometimes I'm going to call it God. You can call it whatever you want, your higher power, your guiding, your spirit, whatever it is, right? Called you to do something. And I think a lot of times as human beings, we go, I don't know how to do it. So we push it away. We turn it away. We're like, I'm busy being busy. Well, God kept knocking. God kept saying, I need you to do this. I need you to do this. I need you to do this. But I was so scared, Evan. I was like, I felt like a fraud. Like I did not know anything about graphic design or an attorney. And then I had doctors wanting me to coach them. I'm like, you're a doctor. You're really smart, right? I still had this limiting belief that I'm just a hairdresser, right? And they're like, we don't care. We love you. And clearly you understand business. I'm like, yeah, that's business, not this business. Like scares the bejesus out of me. So then I came up like in my meditation time, I'm like, I'm going to charge them double. They will not pay me that fee. There is no way. Okay, Evan, they did. They're like, okay, perfect. Where do I sign? I'm like, so now I
That's
find
amazing.
myself, working with entrepreneurs and, having to learn. And the biggest thing I learned, Evan, is business is business is business. 15% of our financial success is our vocation. It's what we choose to do as a career, as a business. That's 15%. Now, you have to be amazing at your 15%. I have to be a great speaker. I have to be a great coach. I have to have my stuff in order. The other 85% is what I work with you on: your sales, your marketing, your operations, and finance. I always start with money because we're entrepreneurs. Like if we sign up for something, and especially if you sign up with me, you got to pay for me. If you don't pay for me, you're going to fire me. So I just learned quickly, we got to focus on the money, because if you don't have money, I'm the first thing to go. And then I realized how many entrepreneurs stick their head in the sand around money, right? They don't want to look at it. They don't want to track it. They don't look at they don't balance their checkbook. They don't have sales projections. They're just winging it. And I'm like, okay, we can't wing it. We've got to be really clear. Then I realized that it's too hard. Traditional business forecasting is too complicated for most entrepreneurs. So I'm like, how can I make this fun? How can I make it where this becomes a game, right? And I didn't understand spreadsheets. I didn't understand that. I'm not a CPA. I'm not an accountant. And you can hear, I do have my PhD. That I don't know if we updated our bio since then, but I do have my PhD, which is my public high school diploma.
I love it.
So, but I learned to go, how can I take this information so I understand, right? Entrepreneurs universally are a little ADD. They're a little dyslexic, right? We can't sit still. We're inventors and we're creators. So I have to teach that way to my consumer, my customer, to go, let's have you feel empowered around this versus disempowered around it. So it's been a journey, right? I wish I didn't have this, like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to conquer the world. I just want, how do I serve my client? How do I serve that business person? How can I share from my mistakes and from my successes? Right. I think my students learn more from my failures, right? More from my breakdowns, more from my, me sabotaging me and all the stuff that comes up for us than just sitting on the mountaintop. The mountaintop's great, right? But I think we all learn when you're in some kind of valley, some kind of hurt, some kind of, whether it's divorce or bankruptcy or failure, or the business didn't launch right away, or that stuff is what stops us. So my commitment is, let's not stop. Let's just reinvent. I believe, Ryan, that business is like this combination lock. Remember these, and you might have them when you go to the gym, right? And if you remember, one little tick off and this guy wouldn't open, right? You might have all the numbers right, but in the wrong order, it won't open. You might have the numbers right, but you're just one tick off, it won't open. This is business. you could have all the right strategy, but if one thing's off, the money won't come. Right? If your pricing is off by $5, $10, $1,000, profitability is not there. Money's not there. You're always, busy, being busy, chasing the money because your pricing was never set right. But nobody teaches us that, right? We have to learn from trial and error, or we learn from what does Evan charge? What does Susie charge? What does Bob charge? What does Melanie charge? Okay, I'm going to charge this. That's not pricing strategy, right? That's sabotage strategy.
I love it. So, Susie, going back, I'd love to know more about like what clicked inside of you. You mentioned like you got these signs. Like, what did those signs look like to you, and how could our listeners recognize their own signs when they're seeing the writing on the wall?
Someone, I don't remember what outlet, interviewed Oprah, and they said, if you had to do it differently, what would you do over again? And she said, I would listen to the whisper before it became a hurricane. And I think that's when you hear, God knocking, or you get that idea, or you get that it keeps coming back to you, right? If it keeps coming back to you, what is it? If it keeps coming back to you, part of it's being quiet, part of it's taking time. My previous business partner, I would come in his office and he would just be sitting there. And I'm like, what are you doing? There's stuff to do. And he's like, I am doing. I'm like, it doesn't look like you're doing. Chop, chop. We got stuff to do.
Yeah.
It's like, if I take time to think about our systems and our processes and what's working and look at the data and be quiet, the solution will come. Well, I am an entrepreneur and I am busy. I'm a multitasker. I can do it all, be it all. And the hardest thing for me to do was to be quiet. The hardest thing for me to do was be in silence, right? So part of it is going back to like when you were a little kid, going back to that dream building. That's why journaling is so powerful, but nobody's made the connect. If you're not journaling, you've not made the connect to the gifts that come from that.
Yeah.
Right. Craziness comes from my journaling, right? You want me to do what? You want me to spend what? You want me to what? Right. When I first started being a speaker, I was just praying, praying out of desperation. Please, God, show me the answer. I've got to take care of these children and feed these children. And I heard the voice say, go speak. Like, what the hell? What does that mean? Go speak. Go speak. I was like, what would I speak on? What would I talk about? What would I even do? And all of a sudden this whole vision came, go do seminars to business women and talk about the power of women who package themselves professionally earn on average 25% more than women who don't. So if your average salary is $100,000, you're going to make $25,000 more because you package yourself a certain way.
Yeah.
And that all came to me from listening and being quiet and going, go speak. Now, I didn't know how to speak. I didn't know how to do that. I was awful. I'm not even going to lie. I'm not even going to pretend. I didn't know what I was doing. But you know how sometimes ignorance is bliss. So I did it. I spoke to 50 women. Now my conversion sucks, not going to lie. I closed 5 people. So that's 10%. That's horrible. But to me, I was like, I just got 5 customers in 1 hour. In 1 hour, back then, if you look at the average person, was $1,200 a year, and you times that times 5, that's $6,000 times on average, they stay with you 5 years. That's $30,000 in 1 hour. I'm like, I like this game, right? Yeah. Now I could make money quicker to provide for my family, right? For me, it's never been about money. Money's just the vehicle of what I can do in the world. Right? My gift from God is my life. My gift back to God is what I do with my life. And how do I influence my community? And how do I influence my children? And how do I take care of my friends and my family? So money's a vehicle. We all have to have it to pay our mortgage. We all have to have it to have a lifestyle and take care of our children. And I think we get lost in the fear around it, like the fear of the unknown, the fear of not wanting to look at it.
Yeah.
Versus let's use it as a vehicle. I can do more work in the world. I can donate to charities. I can sponsor girls in Africa. I can sponsor teens in the US and teaching them how to acknowledge each other and how to have integrity-based conversations.
I love that. How have you, through your coaching, how have you been able to, or how have you witnessed or been a part of that, that transformation of your clients of, because I've seen that too, I've even been victim to that sometimes where I have this limiting belief. I know some of our coaching clients have had the same, mindset of like, hey, what can money do, or how can I get money? There's always this like negative energy around money. And so I think it's really good. Exactly what you're saying is like, let's talk about it. Let's be open about it. And let's figure out how we can use it as a tool for good. So how have you seen, in your experience, how have you helped make that transformation for people?
Well, first you have to determine what is your belief around money and where did it come from? Most of our money beliefs are inherited beliefs. So they came from your mother, your father, your aunt, your uncle, your community, your churches. Like they're not yours, but we pick them up along the way.
Yep.
And if you think about even your childhood, Ryan, mine was, we grew up poor. And I don't mean the kind of poor like we didn't know we were poor. We knew we were poor. Like we were the dirty kids. Right? So all I knew about money is there is none, don't ask for any, and go to job, which, that gave me a really strong work ethic, but it also gave me a really unhealthy work ethic because I learned that I can have whatever I want. I had to work hard. Right. And so, even today, just going, no, I don't have to work hard. I can leverage what I'm doing. And it's all about reprogramming what you
Yeah.
know and what your beliefs are about money. So then you have the unconscious beliefs, right? That they could be generational, they could be legacy beliefs, right? That came down inside of your family. If you grew up in a church, each church has their own belief about money and guilt and this or that. So part of what you have to do is reshift your belief
Yeah.
and look at what's my current belief. Do I like that? Do I not like that? Just like when we create values for our companies or values for our families or values created around money. To me, money is a tool. To me, money I use to leverage. To me, money is a vehicle, right? Money to me is security. It's not something that I treasure. Oh my God, I'm going after the dollar. I value it tremendously because I
Yeah.
value what it can do for me and my clients. And so I've seen clients, one of my clients, Lisa Nichols, she was in The Secret, phenomenal speaker. When I met her, she was doing $80,000 a year. So we took that $80,000 a year and turned it into 10 million. Because we turned it into 10 million, I look at the ripple effect. The ripple effect that because she was my client and I worked with her, the legacy that we've created for other people and their families, for people to give people freedom, women freedom to provide for their families. Where I had a client, Naomi, who was doing this business and she was doing a speaking and coaching business and she had done it for 3 years and not made any money. The minute she started working with me, part of it was a belief system and part of it's strategy of you've got to go get qualified clients. And the first year working with me, she did $250,000, where 3 years previously, she hadn't made any money. Now she did a lot of groundwork. So by the time I got here, we weren't starting from scratch, but a lot of
Right.
groundwork in place, right? That was great work, but it could have been accelerated if you know the right things to do. It's allowed me to support different charities. It's allowed me to support my children in a different way. It allowed me to provide for, friends of families to go, let me help you in the time of need. That's on my values principle. That's one of my charters is helping entrepreneurs live their dreams, to go, how can what the journey I've been through help you and your
Yeah.
community, your family for that matter, right?
Why is that important to you? Why is impact important, and why is helping entrepreneurs live out their dream? Why is that important?
I think because it was so hard for me. And I just wanted it as a single mom trying to figure out how do I pay my rent? And the stress of feeling I didn't have family, right? I picked wrong. I had a horrible picker in my husband, right? And I didn't know where to go for help, right? I didn't have money. I didn't come from money. I didn't have savings. And there's a lot of entrepreneurs in that same spot of it's me. There's no hookup. And to go, let me show you what I've learned the hard way. Let me help pave the way. And the legacy piece, like my higher calling, I think that's just my lesson that everybody's here for a reason. That's just one of my things is how do I support other entrepreneurs, other women living a life that's extraordinary based on what they produce in the world. And I wasn't raised that way, right? I wasn't raised with, you can do anything. That was not the culture I was raised in. I wasn't raised in an environment that was safe and loving. That wasn't my culture. And so I had to learn how to be a mom, right? I had to learn how to provide for my children. I had to learn how to run a business. I had to learn how. And so if I make that path easier for just one more person, right, then I've lived my legacy. Now, I have a big mission. I want to affect 1 million entrepreneurs, to build multi-million dollar companies. Only 1.7% of small businesses hit that mark. And it's just unacceptable. You just don't know what you don't know. It doesn't have to be that hard. We make that so hard. Like it's got to be some struggle, like, woe's me, I made
Yeah.
$1 million. But making $1 million doesn't mean you got paid $1 million. You know that as well as I know that. Like, it doesn't matter how much money I make. What matters is how much we get to take home, to go, let's create a healthy business. Let's create this ecosystem where you're providing for others and you're providing for yourself.
Oh, I love it. And I think what I'm hearing is what I'm gathering from your experiences and from helping others and your impact and your why and your legacy behind all of this is, it comes down to understanding yourself and working within what you are great at. Like, what is your zone of genius and what is your purpose in life, and listening to that internally and putting aside time to listen to yourself. Like you said earlier, like journaling is so powerful. My tool has really been meditation. Like that's my free time to shut off everything else and just close my eyes and just think of nothing.
Right.
And in thinking of nothing, you end up clearing your space, you get level headed, and that gives you space to come up with great ideas, to be inventive, to reinvent yourself, or to get clear on your focus and your purpose and your path. And I think it sounds like that's a big part of what you've been able to do and now helping other people do.
Yeah. And what I love that you say that, thinking of nothing, but you're hearing something. Right. And so in 2007, when the market crashed, I don't know if you remember that. I remember it very clearly. So
Yes.
I had just sold my business 2 months before, and we had sold it for 8 figures. And I never had to work again, Evan. Never, never, ever,
Wow.
ever. Like, we were set up, didn't have to work, right? We had real estate investment, we had a stock portfolio, we had money in our savings, right? We had built this business, sold this business. So we were sitting in an amazing place. And 2007 hit, and the world changed forever for me. The rug was pulled out from under my feet. What took me 20 years to build was gone overnight. I lost 90% of my wealth. Now, it felt like
Hmm.
overnight, but it was over a period of time. And I couldn't save it fast enough. It's like watching dominoes, and you can't catch the domino that's falling. It's just falling. And that was my
Yeah.
life. Everything was falling. Like my marriage of 17 years falling, my financial assets falling, right? My relationships crumbling. I looked around and everything was gone. And I remember Evan being on the floor bawling, and not bawling like pity party. I'm sure there was some there, not gonna lie, because it was a really hard time. And I'm like, why? I have been a good steward. I have done everything you've asked. I have given back to my communities. I followed the rules. Whatever the rules were, I followed them, right? Here's this system and do this, and here's this investment strategy and do this, and here's what's safe and here's what's not. I thought I had it all handled, right? And it's like that house of cards where one card's pulled and it all collapsed, right? We were over leveraged in real estate, right? Our business, my husband and I grew our business together. And that one little card, that one little thing, all of a sudden it was gone. And so the foundation of what we thought was there was gone.
Yeah.
And as I'm crying, and I heard this voice in my head saying, I will never leave you. I will never forsake you. Get up. This will be your biggest lesson and your biggest victory. Get up. Go to the people. I'm like, are you kidding me? I am not telling people this story. This is not a good story. You know how you fight with your conscience, right? Or you fight with your higher intelligence, whatever that is. I was fighting hard, like, no, I'm not telling people this. Like, who's gonna listen to me? Yes, I built millions. They want to hear that part. They don't want to hear I lost it all. So I had to, really go, can I share this? This is way too vulnerable. This is way too raw. And it's like, that's what the people need. You know what to do. Get up and do it. It's almost like it was the test to go, are you a one-hit wonder or can you produce this again? Right. And I took it as a challenge, like I will, and I've always been that way. I am the rebel.
Like a good challenge.
Yeah. Well, don't tell me no, right? Don't tell me no. Look, when I got married, my grandma pulled my husband aside at the wedding, dude, at the wedding, and said, I don't know why you're marrying her if you don't listen. Right? I'm a tough nut. I have to get the lesson, right? You can't just say, Susie, don't do that. You got to give me the why and what happens if I do, what happens if I don't. You just can't tell me. I got to go find out myself, right? The stove will burn you. Let's see. Oh, that was me. That was the kid. Let's see. Oh, yes, it burned me. And so rebuilding, I had 2 clients, right? John Asraf and Lisa Nichols. John Asraf, we did a complete turnaround in his business. Look, I just put my head down and went, this is what I know. I know how to do this. I know how to build businesses. I know money. Yes, I got smacked upside the head, but that's part of failure, right? That's part of being in the down. And that's where wealth is made, in the down to in the up. So It didn't take me 20 years because I wasn't 20 years old. I had learned in all that time in business, I'd learned business. When I first started, I didn't know anything, right? I was just trying to figure out how to pay my bills. And then now you're a seasoned business person going, oh, well, I know this works, and I know this works, and I know this works, and I know this works. Let's do these things. So for both companies, we exponentially grew their company, which gave me my confidence back, right? Because I just felt like
that's amazing.
The rug was pulled out from under me going, ha, let's see how good you are now.
Yeah. That's amazing. Just hearing your story of reinvention and being confident enough to tell that story. I think you're spot on. I think a lot of us would be hesitant to share our losses and share stories that are, the not like Instagram perfect version of ourselves. Yeah. So I think that, I honor you for doing that and sharing that. And then also secondly, like, that's so cool to hear. Cause, I know of Lisa Nichols, I know of John Asraf. Those are, now they're, I don't know what they were like 12 years ago when you were first starting, but now they're blowing up. They're everywhere. They're very successful. And I'm sure it sounds like your mentorship and guidance had a lot to do with that. So that's really, really cool to hear. And so going into your book, Power Your Profits, expanding on John Asraf, Lisa Nichols, working with them as clients, and then the book, how do you power your profits?
Yeah, so there's a system, right? There's a system for everything. So think about if you love to cook, there's a system. You get a recipe, you get all the ingredients. You miss an ingredient, it's not good, right? One year, my sister missed the ingredient sugar in the pumpkin pie. It was the nastiest thing I ever tasted. Nice. But there's a success formula, right? If you're an athlete, let's say you're a golfer. I'm a really good golfer. I can hit the ball really straight, just not far. Right? They're like, it's good, you can hit it straight. Yeah, but I gotta hit it 12 times before I get it in the hole. I think I'm I'm missing the point. They're like, no, that's better to have it straight. I'm like, I gotta win, right? And so there's a system on how you do that. There's a system for how we drive. Think about it. I don't know if you've ever been to Europe, right? The first time I went to Europe, intuitively it's on the other side. Intuitively, I'm not going to turn this way, because normally, like, if you come out of a parking stall, you'll go this way. Well, in Europe, you go this way, right, to get in the same lane. And literally, I get in a car, the first thing I do is what my natural instinct is and do it the American way. Okay, well, we almost got on a head-on collision because you can't do it the American way. You've got to do it the European way. And so business is the same way. It's a system. So in my book, Power Your Profits, right, we talk about, if you're not good at the finances, go straight to chapter 8. Math is money, money is fun. If you suck at sales, go straight to page 199. I give you my script of what I do to close $100,000 clients. And I close $100,000 clients, and I've done it with $900 clients. I've done it with $2,000 clients. The script works, right? So it's the formula. It's a formula of what I've done. There are many different gurus, many different people. These are just the best practices I've used to build 10 companies, right? 2 of them were $10 million companies. The other ones were multi-million-dollar companies, and 2 of them were dismal failures, right? Bad partnerships. I didn't know what I was doing, but that was part of the learning. I still count those 10. People go, why don't you leave those out? No, because I learned so much in the failure. I learned so much in how not to do business and how not to, things that didn't work for me. That I can't replace that. That's just as valuable as building the $10 million company, right? So teaching people, how do you have $1 million launch year? You don't have to take years to get to $1 million. You can have a launch year at $1 million. Are you willing to do the work? Are you willing to make the investment to build the infrastructure to get the results? That's all this is the blueprint. And how you use the blueprint is up to you. And you don't have to read chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, go right to the chapter that you want, right? To go, I need to find a team member. How do you qualify it? What am I looking for? How do I hold them accountable? Because that's always scary as entrepreneurs. So I just wanted to give people what it's taken me 30 years to figure out, to go, let me give you the it. And then you put your secret sauce on it. You put your spin on it, right? I think the bigger thing is, what are you going to do with the wealth, right? Because if you're just putting it in the bank, right?
Yeah.
That's that security, but what is your purpose? Like, what's that legacy you want to build? Mine was originally changing my industry, right? Changing that beauty industry. My industry now is entrepreneurship. To go, let me help you build a sustainable business. 88% of small businesses aren't profitable. That's unacceptable to me. And it's just because we don't know what we don't know. Like, we're going to work this hard for freedom, right? Because we all go into it for freedom. You're working hard, you're working 12, 15-hour days and not making the money you desire. Out of those 88%, so the other percentage that are profitable, they're not even paying themselves a proper paycheck. So when I look at that, it's like you're working that hard and you're not even paying yourself. If you went to go work for somebody else that your compensation would warrant, that's a good reality check. Because a lot of small businesses are going, yeah, we're profitable. Well, did you pay yourself? Because if you didn't pay yourself, you're not profitable. And if you didn't pay yourself what you're worth, you're really not profitable. So but there's not one place that we talk about that, right? I got to go meet Evan, then I got to meet Susie, then I got to go meet Brad, then I got to go meet Jill, then I got to go meet, what's the it, right? And look for the holes inside of your business. Every chapter in this book, I do an assessment. Because for me, I want to know, where am I at? Like when you go to the mall and, we're used to, we don't go now, right? And you'd find that marquee that said, you are here. That's powerful to go, here's where I'm truly at. Nobody's judging you. Nobody's looking for you to be perfect. It's like, I'm here. Okay, if you're here, what do you need to do to get there?
Yeah.
And finances is a foundation, because I can't get there without infrastructure or capital to grow. Right? You're just going to stay here and I might go a little bit further, a little bit further. No, let's go here. And there's money all around you. I need you all to hear. There's money all around you. You're sitting on a gold mine. It's all around you. And the minute I really took that mentality on, I could start seeing it in opportunity, right? In leveraging, in relationships, right? But we're just looking for paper. Well, there's monetary currency and then there's non-monetary currency.
Yep.
That's just as valuable. So I want you to start for you that you're listening to this, start looking at all the money that's all around you. Look how many miles do you have, right? Miles equal money. I paid for my whole Christmas this year with miles. I didn't spend a dime. I spent it all year long and then used my miles to pay for all my presents. And it was like Christmas for me. I didn't go and, I didn't have that debt. I didn't have that like, oh, how much should I spend or not spend? I'm like, here's what I'm going to get, Evan. This is so exciting. And not worry about money. Miles there, right? So that's wealth, right? Not using your own money, it's using other people's money. I used American Express's money, right? I still made those purchases in business, still was going to pay them. You can either get paid for that or not paid for that. Look at your partnerships. By being in a partnership with someone, how can you leverage that and serve their community and they serve your community and get exposed? That's free advertising. Advertising is expensive.
Yeah.
Right. It cost me about $22 per new customer to get them on my list. That's not even buying anything yet. Right. So you go, okay, that's monetary value, non-monetary value. So I think sometimes we just look for the paper And you have to look at relationships, you have to look at communities, you have to look at where's the
Yeah.
money around me.
The goodwill, the trust, the exactly what you're saying. I think that's community capital. That's, relationship capital. That is so powerful too. And that can turn itself into a form of money or a form of, energy that can be transferred and used for some other purpose to help your
Yeah,
higher purpose.
brilliant.
I love it. Well, one last thing I wanted to bring up that I saw that you had said, I believe business should be fun, not painful. What does that mean to you?
In my early days, I remember, and every entrepreneur has experienced this, where this was when I opened my salon, right? We were one of the top 1% of the nation, top 10% in the world, and we were not profitable.
Hmm.
And
Wow.
Brian, I was like, this is painful. What is missing? We were losing money every month and I couldn't figure it out. And so I remember, again, crying. I must be a crybaby, crying, going, I could work at McDonald's and make more than I'm making right now. Every entrepreneur experiences that, right? So then I look at, so my pricing formula was off and we were losing $5 per every customer. So $5 times 300 customers was $1,500 a month. Times 12 months, that was $18,000 a year. Change that one thing, that one combination piece, the money lock opened. Now we immediately went into profit. And once you get to break even, this is the fun part. Once you get to break even and you know what that number is and you know what you have to charge, every dollar after that is profit. That's fun, right? This
Yeah.
should be fun, right? You're spending time with me versus your fiance. This should be fun. I better be fun because
Yeah.
you're sacrificing time with her. You love her. You'd much rather hang out with her, right? But if you know that the work you're doing in the world is contributing, the work in the world is
Yeah.
doing some good, it makes work fun. I don't feel this is work right now. We're working right now, Evan. How much fun is that?
Believe it or
Right?
not. Exactly. I love that. And that's a great way to look at it is like, you have to love what you're doing because you're giving up opportunity. It's the opportunity cost. You're
Right.
giving up the ability to hang out with your family, hang out with your loved ones, enjoy life. And you're giving that up for the work. So you better love it. I think
Better
that's
love
really
it, and you
powerful.
better involve your family, right? So as an entrepreneur, my children early on, I got them involved. Like in the old days when you would have cassette tapes, they would stuff them and put the cassette
Yep.
tapes and they weren't always in order, right? Which, that term endearing in itself, but they learned how to negotiate, right? They learned the power of work equals reward, right? Because I didn't give them allowance. They got paid for every cassette that they stuffed. Right. And so now who they are in the world is these amazing business women, entrepreneurs. One's an entrepreneur, one is an equity investor, right? And she went to Wharton and went to Harvard, but she saw what hard work could do. And so don't leave your family aside, incorporate them, bring
Yeah.
them to the stuff that you do so they get to see who you are in the world. Then you get support. It's when we keep our family at arm's length and go, I'm busy, mom's busy, dad's busy, I'm busy, go away, to go, no, come and meet my community. If somebody walked in my office right now, I would meet Evan, meet his tribe. This
Yeah.
is my beautiful daughter. It's like, okay, that's weird. No, it shows like my children and grandchildren now see, and they can't wait to come in and meet everybody. Like, who's my
Yeah.
Gigi talking to today? And that just teaches them like, oh, there's another way to be in the world versus I hate my job. And most people who have a job hate it. Like, I'm not gonna hate my life. We're
Yeah.
doing this for 40, 50, 60 hours a week. I better have some fun with my family and my man and my kids and with you. I better like you,
Yeah.
right? Because I'm giving all my energy to you in this community right now to go, your life is so precious. Do something worthwhile because there's money everywhere. You can get paid for whatever it is you want to do. Let's go get paid for something that fills your soul, that gives you joy, that gives you that life that goes, wow, what I did today truly made a difference. Whether it's picking up trash in the street, if that makes you happy, whether it's coaching someone to have a breakthrough, whether it's serving someone in a restaurant, doesn't matter what you do, just have love and joy for it,
Yeah.
right? It's the joy you give other people. It's not the widget and gidget I do. It's not the spreadsheet I do. It's the hope and the possibility to show, if I'm working with Ryan, let me show you how you can create millions doing one more thing. Let me show you. And when you can have someone, we all know that day that the light bulb goes off for them. That to me is my paycheck. That to me is all worthwhile.
Susie, I love your energy, and it's contagious. I can feel it all the way over here in Nashville, and I know our listeners, our monumental listeners, can feel it as well. I love the message, and I couldn't agree more. Getting your family involved in what you do. I mean, we have family members invest with us in our holiday of interest deals. We have Jeanette, my fiance. She is right there, alongside me, helping with our resident empowerment programs and our coaching programs. And I think that's exactly right. Is like, it's, if you make it fun, if you prioritize fun and enjoyment in what you're doing, then you can kind of have your cake and eat it too. You can have a good life. You can enjoy impactful, meaningful, and profitable work, and you can do it with your family all at the same time.
Exactly. It's beautiful, right? It's like, oh, that is truly the American dream.
Yeah.
Not slave for the man, whoever the man or woman is. I don't know who that person is. I never worked for them, right?
Yeah.
Too much of a rebel cause. So take this time to really discover. And first of all, this is the perfect season. We are in a pandemic. Your
Yeah.
life has completely shifted for a reason, just like mine did in 2007 when I got knocked on my high knee and my fortune ripped out from under me. I could have been a victim, and I wanted to be. I wanted to stay on that floor and cry. I had a really good pity party going, right? And I could have involved everybody in my pity party because
Yeah.
I didn't learn till later all the shenanigans that was going on behind the scenes, just like we don't know what's happening now. Like, what are the shenanigans that are going on behind the scenes? I don't know. But how do we leverage this time? How do we reinvent ourselves? How do we take this time, if you were in a job, to go, ooh, what would I do now? What could I do now?
Yeah,
What
exactly.
could I be? Like, it's a great time to invent and invest in yourself. Benjamin Franklin said, take the coins from your purse, invest them in your mind, and your mind will fill your purse overflowing. My mind fills my purse. I have a high school diploma, and my mind has filled my purse overflowing. I should not be where I'm at. I should not have the wealth that I have, but I chose something different. I said, I want that. I said, I'm going to work hard for
Yeah.
it. I said, I'm going to do whatever it takes. I work through my limiting beliefs. I work through my fear. I work through my self doubt. I work through this scary, and it wasn't always easy, right? To go, I have something to say and I have something to contribute. It's never been about me. It's always been about you. It's always been about Evan. It's always been about my kids. Never been about Susie. The minute it's about me, it's not fun anymore.
Yeah.
The minute it's about really impacting, it's fun. Look at any great company, any great leader, it started there. They wanted to solve a problem. So find a problem that you can solve and let's monetize it and let's make it rain. Let's make some
Yes. Make
money.
it
Let's
rain.
do it. Make it rain. Make it rain.
I love it. I love it. Well, Susie, I feel like we could keep going, but let's dive into our monumental questions.
Dun, 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 dun. Okay.
What does success mean to you?
Hmm. For me, I know it sounds corny, and I'm going to say it sounds corny, but to me, it's the life I give my children. It's they didn't have to live my past. They didn't have to live my upbringing. I gave them a hope. I gave them a future that was not predictable. And so for me, it's my daughters are in safe homes with safe family and their children are safe. I didn't grow up that way. So for success for me means being something different for my children. No, I'm sorry, but it's my
I
why.
appreciate, yeah, I appreciate you sharing that. I really do. And I think that's meaningful to share that with everybody is, the opportunity for your children. I mean, what better gift could you give them?
We take for granted how blessed we are, right? I didn't grow up in a home like that. I didn't grow up with safety. I didn't grow up with security. And so we take it for granted. So part of my mission is I want women to feel safe. I want to help you provide for your family the way that I've been able to. I've
Yeah.
an amazing life. Not that my life's over, I'm just saying, but I've an amazing life. I've traveled all over the world. And it's because I risked and I said, I'm going to be this, you know, entrepreneur that helps other businesses. And in turn, the world supported me.
Yeah.
That's worthwhile work for me.
I love it. What about daily habits or morning rituals that you have?
Yes. So every morning I listen to a prosperity meditation to get me present for the day. And she's this lovely British accent. I love her. And then when I'm getting ready, I listen to something motivational, inspirational. The new thing right now is Clubhouse. So I'll get on there and listen to other experts. So I'm always filling my mind with possibility, filling my mind with tools and strategies. I'm not listening to music. I'm not watching TV. I'm not listening to the news, right? I'm putting, as Benjamin Franklin said, fill your mind with education and your mind will fill your purse to go, what's that thing I need? Right. I spend time with my daughter and her baby, right? That's my ritual. I'll get up early just so I can spend time before I come into the office. Um, I do work out, so that's part of my ritual. I'm doing that every day, right? But working out and taking care of my body is really important to me as well.
That's great. What about favorite book or book you are currently reading?
So I'm reading right now, I don't know if you know him, Brendan King. And so he wrote the book 1 Million Followers. And so he sells 2,000 to 5,000 books a month. Now, books are a great lead generator.
Wow.
So I'm like, I want that strategy. So it's 2 books, the 1 Million Followers and something called the Hook Point. And what's your hook point? What's your hook point for people to pay attention to you, to get involved with you so they can come play with you? Right. So those 2 right now, are just the juicy nuggets that I'm reading.
That's awesome. Yeah, I may have to check that out too. We're in the process of writing a book all about what we do and affordable development, and so yeah, we're on that path too. It's the first time I've ever written one, so I'll keep you posted.
Yeah, well, congratulations. It's a huge accomplishment, right? So I'm proud of you for risking and doing it, right? When I wrote my first book, I don't know how to do that. Just my client said, "Do you have a book?" I'm like, "No."
Yeah.
They're like, "I'll buy it." Okay. I'm like,
Yeah. Same here. I'm like, everybody's like, "Oh, well, do you have a book?" Or, they ask the same questions. I'm like, man, this could be a lot easier if I just provide it in a book and they can learn everything all at the same time.
Yeah, it's a game changer. It's a game changer in your credibility. So if any of you are listening to go, what's another thing, right? I don't have my PhD for real, right? What I have is I'm an author of 10 books. What I have is I've built 10 companies. What I have is 2 $10 million companies. That's my credibility. So you can have a piece of paper or you can have this credibility. And some people want the piece of paper. I can give you a piece of paper. Here's a piece of paper.
I love that.
Results.
So true.
That's what I want.
Exactly. Let's get some profit.
Exactly.
Well, Susie, thank you so much. Amazing episode, amazing value. It shared a ton with our listeners today. So I know they're going to get some amazing value out of this. Where can our Monumental listeners reach out to you or connect with you or see what you're up to?
So it's really easy. You find me by my name in every platform. And my name is Susie Carder, C-A-R-D, as in dinero and dollar, E-R. Right. So my website, my platforms, everything is there. You can buy the book at poweryourprofitsbook.com to get a bunch of different bonuses. It's also on every platform, Barnes & Noble, Amazon, all those places. But I'd love for you to come and visit our tribe. Love for you to see if what we're up to can serve you, serve your community, because I am your sister in the journey. You're in business for yourself, not by yourself. Don't struggle. Suffering's optional. Let us help you pave the way.
I love it. And could you tell our monumental listeners a little bit about your 3-day big money business summit?
Yes. We host it 3 times a year, right? February, June, and September. And it's virtual and online, right? So fun, engaging. We have 90% engagement rate, meaning we don't have a bunch of screens where people aren't showing their face. So my passion is I want small groups of people so I can transform their business. And we go into growth explosion, right? Brendan's speaking at this one that's coming up in February on how do you build that kind of following and how do you convert followers who are fans into customers, because fans aren't customers. How to leverage and really create a 7-8 figure business. It's a roadmap, right? So I'm looking at how do you build a business from a roadmap so that it's predictable, it's successful, it's easy to follow. Let's quit making it hard. Let's find the right business partners. Let's have some fun while we do this. If you love this little snippet of Susie and snippet of content, you're going to love the Big Money Business Summit because we are on fire, but with tactical information, not ideas, not concepts. We give you the meat that you need to grow the wealth that you deserve.
I love it. And guys, we will put a link to the Big Money Business Summit as well as her book and her website in the show notes. So make sure to check that out. Susie, again, phenomenal episode. Thank you so much. And Monumental listeners, again, thank you guys for being here. If you could go to wherever you're listening, make sure to subscribe, rate, and review, and also share this podcast. Let other people know you're listening, and tag Susie on Instagram or social media, wherever you're at. Tag me, Evan Holiday. And guys, with that, have a monumental day.